According to the Humane Society of the United States, there may be as many as 10,000 puppy mills operating across the U.S. that produce more than 500,000 puppies a year. A puppy mill is a large-scale commercial dog breeding operation where profit is a priority over the welfare of the dogs. Puppy mill operators are not concerned with the quality or health of the animals, but rather producing as many puppies as they can to make a profit. This is an industry that makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and some puppy mills have hundreds, even thousands of dogs at a time. This is a profit-driven industry with very little incentive for the operators to stop producing puppies.
It was a little strange, we're in the middle of the woods really, and I didn't know the guy or anything, but it was a little odd. It was dead of winter, really cold, a lot of snow, and there was about 6 or 8 tool sheds and we went in a couple of them, and they were all split up the same, into 6 or 8 pens. He had put up some boards and it was all fallen down and nothing really, there was nothing on the ground, and it was really cold. There was no heat in there or anything, but there was a lot of dogs in there, a lot of puppies. So I started picking through puppies in this cold barn, and all these little dogs, I'm picking through dogs like this, and notice there's a water dish and some food bowls over there, but they're bone dry. There's nothing in them. But the dogs were all sleeping together, trying to keep warm, and I found Jenga. And I said, that's the one I want. I like him. He's got spots all over him, but he doesn't have any blue eyes, and that's okay. I'll buy him anyway. So I took out my $195, and oh, well, it was going to be $295 for the dog I wanted, but he knew I liked him, and I would buy him for $295. So I took I took my chances and bought my dog. I couldn't be happier.
Puppy mill dogs are born into extremely unsanitary conditions. They're stuffed into kennels with wire floors and with too many other dogs. Their paws become damaged, and sometimes their nails can curl over it, the rusted wire floor, and rip off. Many dogs develop eye and ear issues. Most are emaciated from being underfed or fed contaminated food. They live in their feces and are never groomed, so their fur becomes matted, which causes skin problems. Many dogs are kept outside in the freezing cold or in the sweltering heat with little to no water. These dogs have no human interaction and no real socialization with other dogs. They can be scared of any and everything, even something like grass, because they've never seen it before.
I noticed while I was there, it was just not a good situation. It was all kinds of medicine and dog medicine laying around, and injectables, needles and stuff to inject the dogs. And I asked him what it was, because I was curious and concerned a little bit that it wasn't legitimate, So I asked, and he said they were medicines for his first shots. He already had all of his first shots, and he was good to go. So I asked him what he does with all the other dogs, because I knew I wanted a puppy, but he had lots of dogs, all different ages. I wanted to know what happened to them when nobody bought them. And he told me that they all got sold, and not to worry, they all got sold at one point. And I just couldn't believe it, considering there were so many barns, like 6 or 7, 8 barns with 6 or 7, 8 pens in each one, full of dogs, 20 dogs in one pen, huddled up, keeping warm. So I felt a little sad for the dogs that were being left behind as I left, but I knew that I took one out of there, and I was happy with that.
Puppy mill puppies are typically sold to pet stores, so any dog you get from a pet store can come with serious health and behavioral problems. Pet store employees will assure you that their puppies come from reputable breeders and that they have no health issues, but the truth is, they don't know for sure. Never buy a puppy without being able to meet the puppy's mother or without being able to see the facility where the dog was bred. Pet stores are in a hurry to sell all of their dogs as fast as they can, so they'll do anything to sell a puppy. The kinds of puppies that you see in pet stores are the cute, fluffy toy breeds that catch your eye and make it hard to leave without them. Every day that a puppy stays in a pet store, the price goes down more and more to get them sold as quickly as possible.
So I went in, and Charlie was in this big glass box, this cage, what have you, and the woman said, well, I can take him out, but you cannot hold him, which I thought was so bizarre. So she took him out, and he was super playful, and he was trying to get out of her arms and play and all this stuff. So I ended up saying, what is the cost of him? First he was $2,800, then he was $1,500, but they would sell him for me for $300 because nobody would ever want him because he was white. That was her reason for giving me a discount, was because my dog was white and he wasn't the perfect black and gray schnoodle. So I asked her, I said, how old is he? And she said, well, he's 2 months. That is the oldest they can be. And she was like, he'll only be here till Friday. I purchased him on a Monday. So I said to her, I was like, he'll only be here till Friday? I was like, where will he go after that? In her words, she said, well, we just can't keep him any longer.
Dogs you buy from a pet store can come with a number of health and behavioral issues. They can have underlying diseases that you can't tell they have right away because they have never received veterinary care. They can grow to be either human aggressive or aggressive to other dogs because of their lack of socialization. They could also be extremely scared and timid because they have lived their entire life in a cage. The worst thing that can happen is that you buy a dog at a pet store, you take it home, your family falls in love with it, and it dies because of a major health issue that you were unaware of.
So I got Charlie home, and she told me right before I walked out of the store, hold onto him really tight, which I thought was weird. And her reason was he had never been outside, ever. It was 2 months, he was there, and he'd never once had fresh air. So I got him home, and I tried to get him to walk up the stairs, and we realized, me and my boyfriend, he had no idea how to walk. He was 2 months old, he'd never walked, so we spent hours and hours teaching him how to walk. And I would say he's probably one of the best dogs I've ever had. He's so loving and easygoing, but it was pitiful. Like the way he started out, he was teeny tiny, he was like scared, he couldn't be left alone, he didn't know how to walk, nothing. So it was definitely hard for the first month, but the first night I had him, he slept for 11 hours. So I don't know if he was like sedated, if he was just so relieved to be somewhere quiet, but all in all, he's been really good. He's healthy and happy, but as far as like his first couple weeks, like teaching him how to walk was the hardest thing ever. And I feel like a 2-month-old dog should know how to walk.
Many people think that by buying that cute little puppy they see in the window at the pet store, they're saving it, but really they're just creating space for a new puppy mill dog to come in. Pet stores keep puppy mills in business, and as long as people are buying dogs from pet stores, the puppy mills will keep producing them, and at an alarming rate. A shelter is the best place to get a dog. Breeders and pet stores charge an outrageous amount of money for puppies, so they can just keep producing them. There are so many dogs in shelters around the country that have been abused or abandoned that need a safe, loving home. Shelters today are becoming so overcrowded that they are forced to euthanize some older but perfectly healthy dogs that are not adopted. If you want to get a dog, the best place to go is a shelter to adopt a dog, because as long as people are spending big money in pet stores and online, puppy mills are going to stay in business and keep pumping out unhealthy dogs, which may in turn end up in a shelter.